Good afternoon, children. Welcome to another class of botany. In today's class, we are going to study about the next group of plants, that is the bryophytes. In the previous chapter, we noticed a wide range of thallus organization in algae. So in the previous class we studied about algae. So in that we have studied thallus, the plant body of algae. Either they are unicellular or they are multicellular. In multicellular, we have studied either they are live in colonies. Okay, different structures we studied there in the case of algae. Majority of them are aquatic. So here we have studied in the algae they have different type of plant bodies. Next we have studied they are mostly aquatic. Either they are found in fresh water or they are found in marine water. The development of heterotrichous habit. Heterotrichous habit means what? In the plant body, that is the thallus, part of the plant body is flat, that is prostrate. They grow flat on the surface, and part of the plant body they started growing erect. So this type of habit, the heterotrichous habit, okay, so part of the plant growing prostrate, part of the plant they start growing erect. This is called as heterotrichous habit. Development of the parenchyma tissue and dichotomous branching, that is the branching, one branch, the buds in the branches they divide into two branches. Okay, so that is the apical bud, they divide into two branches. So this type of features, that is heterotrichous habit, development of parenchyma tissue and dichotomous branching in some algae, support the view that colonization of the plant in land occurred in the past. So these nature, okay, heterotrichous habit, parenchyma tissue, dichotomous branching, they found in the algae support that they help in the colonization of the plants in the land. Bryophytes are the simplest and the most primitive plant groups descended from algae-like ancestors. These bryophytes, they are said to be the simplest plant, okay, and they are the most primitive group of plants, and their ancestors are said to be algae. They are descended from the algae. They are simple embryophytes. Embryophytes means what? These plants, okay, these plants, the embryos, they are retained in the mother plant or in the maternal tissues, they are present there. So let us learn about the structure and reproduction of these primitive land plants called bryophytes in detail. Now bryophytes, they are the simplest land inhabiting cryptogams. So cryptogams means what? They are the non-flowering and non-seed producing plants. So bryophytes, they are said to be simple, the simplest among all the group of plants which habitat the land. Okay, they started occupying the land and they do not produce any flowers and seeds, and they are restricted to moist and shady habitats. So and they are found where? In the moist, there is the moisture should be there, or the dampness, wetness should be present, and along with that they require shade. So in these region, in the damp, moist, shady regions only, these bryophytes they grow. They lack vascular tissues and hence they are called as non-vascular cryptogams. So vascular tissues are what? The xylem and the phloem. We know xylem help in the conduction of water, phloem helps in the conduction of food. So this conducting tissues, these vascular tissues, xylem and phloem, they are absent in this group of plants. So these bryophytes, they are called to be non-vascular cryptogams. Okay. They are also called as amphibians of plant kingdom because they need water for completing their life cycle. Now, as we know, bryophytes, these are the group of plants, simple group of plants which had started occupying the land, but uh, they grow in the damp region. But for the completion of the life cycle, that is for fertilization to take place, they depend on the water. Okay, so though these plants, they are the land plants, but for completion of the life cycle, for fertilization to take place, they depend on the water. So they require both land as well as water. So this group of plants, they are said to be amphibians of plant kingdom. Now let's study about the general characteristic features of the bryophytes. The plant body of bryophyte is, so plant body here, of bryophyte is said to be gametophytic phase. Gametophytes means what? They produces the gametes. The plant body, they produces the gametes and is not differentiated into root, stem and leaf-like structure. Here the plant body is a thallus. This thallus is not differentiated into root, stem and leaf-like structure. Most of them are primitive land dwellers, some of them are aquatic. So most of the bryophytes, they are occupied the land. Only few species like Rhyla and Rhixiocarpus, they are the aquatic species. Gametophyte is conspicuous. Conspicuous means easily visible. That is, in the major part of the life cycle of the plant, this bryophytes, they are in gametophytic phase. The gametophyte is conspicuous, long-lived phase of the life cycle. Thalloid forms are present in liverworts and hornworts. So here we have studied the plant body of bryophyte, they are gametophyte. These gametophytes, most of the species, they are in the form of thallus structure. Okay, and in some they possess that is, these bryophytes, they started growing erect. Okay, so they have root-like, stem-like and leaf-like structures. So that is what given here. The gametophyte is conspicuous, long-lived phase of the life cycle. In some form, they are thalloid forms. In some, that is the gametophyte phase. In some of the bryophytes, they are the thalloid. Thallus means what? They are growing flat on the surface. Okay, the plant body is flat on the surface of the soil. So thalloid forms, they are present in the liverworts and hornworts. So two group of plants, two type of bryophytes, two classes of bryophytes, that is the liverworts and hornworts. In these species, the thallus is plant body is thallus-like. In mosses, that is the another class of these bryophytes, they have leaf-like, stem-like structures are present. In liverworts, thallus grows prostrate on the ground. Now these liverworts, they are the group of simple bryophytes in which the plant body, they grow flat on the surface, that is prostrate. Prostrate means in a sleeping gesture. In liverworts, thallus grows prostrate on the ground and is attached to the substratum by means of rhizoids. Now these rhizoids, they are the root-like structure. They are not the real roots. They are root-like structures which helps in the absorption of water and nutrients. Okay. So in liverworts, the plant body is thallus-like, which grows prostrate on the ground and is attached to the substratum by means of rhizoids. Now two types of rhizoids are found in bryophytes, namely smooth-walled and pegged or tuberculate. So here you can see in this diagram here, the C diagram, you can see the pegged and the smooth-walled rhizoids. So here you can see the first one, you can see the inner walls, they show some inner infoldings are found there. Okay, so this type of rhizoids, they are called as the pegged one. Okay, whereas in the second, you can see the inner walls, they are smooth. So this type of rhizoids, they are called as smooth rhizoids. So in the bryophytes, you can find two type of rhizoids. Either they are pegged rhizoids or they are smooth rhizoids. Two types of rhizoids are present, namely smooth-walled and pegged, or pegged is also called as tuberculate. Multicellular scales are also present. So here in the margin of the thallus, there are scales are also present there. In moss, the plant body is erect with central axis bearing leaf-like expansions. So here, as we have studied, in bryophytes, they show the habit of the bryophytes we've studied. Either they grow prostrate or some they grow erect. So prostrate, we studied the plant body is prostrate in liverworts and hornworts, and in moss we have studied the plant body is erect. Is erect with the central axis. Okay, stem-like structure is present there, on which there are some leaf-like expansions are present there. Multicellular rhizoids are present there. In moss, you can find multicellular rhizoids. The structure and reproduction bryophytes we can see here. In the next diagram, we can find. Next feature we are going to study is vascular tissue like xylem and phloem are completely absent. Hence they are called as non-vascular cryptogram. Next, about the reproduction. Vegetative reproduction takes place by the formation of adventitious buds. Okay, so here by the buds which is found in any surface, it may be on the root stem or the leaves. So anywhere these buds are found, these buds will lead to the development of a new plant body. Next is by the tuber development. So here this tubers, their development is seen in Anthoceros. And in some forms, small detachable branches, detachable branches or brood bodies are formed. Brood bodies means they are the specialized group of cells. So in some species of bryophytes, you can find they have branches which detach from the plant body. So here you can see in the case of the Riccia, you can see here this they have the dichotomous branching is present, that they will separate and each fragment will develop into a new plant body. Okay, so here or there are some mass of cells are there, specialized mass of cells, they are called as the brood bodies. They will help in the vegetative reproduction as in the case of Bryopteris. In Marchantia, propagative organs called gamma are formed and they help in the reproduction. So here you can find so fragmentation you saw. Next in the F diagram you can find the tubers are present there in the plant body. The thallus, the tubers are present. These tubers will help in the growth of a new plant body. Next in the third diagram, G diagram, you can find surface on the thallus of the Marchantia. There are some cup-like structures are present. This cup-like structures they are called as the gemma. Okay, these gemma they have the specialized cells and these they will help in the development of a new plant body. So they are also means of vegetative reproduction. So in Marchantia, propagative organs like gemma are formed and they help in the reproduction. Next feature, the sexual reproduction is seen, that is of oogamous type. So oogamous we have already studied, that is the fusing gametes. They are both morphologically and physiologically dissimilar. So here the male reproductive organ is called as the antheridia and the female reproductive organ is called as archegonia. The antheridia and archegonia, they are produced in a protective covering and are multicellular. The antheridia, they produce biflagellate anthrozoids which swim in thin film of water and reach the archegonium and fuse with the egg to form a diploid zygote. So this antheridia, the male sex organ is called as the antheridia. They produce the anthrozoids, that is the male gamete, which is having two flagella. Biflagellate means two flagella, which swims in the water and will reach the archegonium. Archegonium is what the female sex organ. In this archegonium is present the egg. Okay. So this anthrozoids, they fuse with the egg and they form a diploid zygote. Now for this fertilization to take place, the anthrozoids has to swim in the water. So water is essential for the fertilization. So the agent of fertilization is water. The zygote is the first cell of the sporophyte generation. Now here the sporophyte which is formed, this leads, the zygote which is formed, this is the first stage of sporophyte generation. It undergoes mitotic division. The zygote which is formed, it undergoes mitotic division to form multicellular undifferentiated embryo. We know mitotic division means one cell will divide into two daughter cells. So here what is happening, this zygote undergo multiple division, okay, multiple mitotic division, and they will produce a multicellular undifferentiated embryo. The embryogeny is exoscopic. Exoscopic means in the zygote, the first division is transverse. Okay, that is horizontal division takes place and the apex of the embryo develops from the outer cell. So here you can see this zygote will undergo division. Okay, so in the zygote will undergo the division first horizontally. The cells which is present towards the apex, that will form the that will develop into the embryo. The embryo is to the sporophyte. This embryo, they will have division and they will lead to the sporophyte. The sporophyte is dependent on the gametophyte. The sporophytic stage of this bryophytes depend on the gametophytic phase. Now this sporophyte, it is differentiated into three recognizable parts, namely foot, seta and capsule. So as we have studied in the gametophyte only, gametophyte phase only, the sporophyte phase is dependent, and the sporophyte phase they have the sporophytes they have three distinct region. They are foot, seta, and capsule. Now the foot is the basal portion and is embedded in the gametophyte, through which water and nutrients are supplied for the sporophyte. So here in the sporophyte, three region is there. The basal region is the foot. This foot is present inside the gametophyte. Okay, and they absorb the water. This foot absorbs the water and the nutrients for the sporophyte. The diploid spore mother cells found in the capsule. So here now the capsule, inside the capsule only the spore mother cells are present. The spore mother cell will undergo meiotic division, that is one cell will divide to form 4 haploid spores, and they will give rise to the haploid spores. This spore mother cell will undergo meiotic division and will produce the haploid spores. Bryophytes, they are homosporous. Okay, bryophytes, they produce the same type of spores. So here before that, sporophyte we have studied, it is what? It is differentiated into foot, seta, and capsule. Foot is the basal portion. Capsule, they contain the spore mother cell, will undergo meiotic division. This foot and the seat and the capsule is connected by a stem-like structure, that is called the seta. Okay. Now bryophytes, as we have studied, they undergo bryophytes, they are homosporous, that is they produce the same type of spores. In some sporophyte, elaters are present. They help in the dispersal of the spores. So here these elaters, they help in absorbing the water. Okay, and they provide to the sporophyte. Next, they are helping in the dispersal of the spores. The spores germinate to produce the gametophyte. Now when these spores, they germinate, they are released from the capsule, they germinate on the suitable substratum, they will give rise to the new gametophyte. The zygote embryo and the sporogonium constitute the sporophytic phase. So here from the zygote starts the sporophyte stage, zygote, embryo, and the sporogonium. Sporogonium is the spore bearing body. They forms the sporophytic phase. The green long living haploid phase is called the gametophytic phase. So here in the life cycle of the bryophytes, you can find the major part of the plant, a major part of the life cycle, the plant is in the haploid phase, that is the gametophytic phase. Okay, and the zygote, embryo till the sporogonium, spore producing cells. So they are the diploid phase. So the haploid gametophytic phase alternates with the diploid sporophytic and shows heterologous alteration of generation. Heterologous means morphologically both gametophytic and sporophytic phase are both morphologically dissimilar. Okay, so the two entirely dissimilar phases are present in the life cycle of plant. So they are said to be what? Heterologous alteration of generation. So here we have studied in the life cycle of the bryophytes. A major part of the life cycle of the bryophytes, the plant is in the haploid gametophytic phase. Okay, after the fusion of the gametes, the spore, that is the zygote development to the spore mother cell formation, they are in the diploid condition. So the major part is the haploid phase, gametophytic phase, and the small portion is the sporophytic phase. And these two phases, they alternate each other in the life cycle of the bryophytes. So this life cycle is called as a heterologous alteration of generation. Next, we are going to study about the classification of this bryophytes. Prosker in the year 1957, they classified bryophytes into three classes, namely Hepaticopsida, Anthoceratopsida, and Bryopsida. Hepaticopsida means they are the gametophytic phases, undifferentiated. Okay, plant body is thallus-like. They do not have a root, stem, or leaf-like structure. Rhizoids, they may be unicellular or sorry. So here you can say the Hepaticopsida, they are the lower forms of the bryophytes. They are the normal thallus-like structure. Okay, they are confined to the damp and shady places. Next, their protonemal stage is absent. Protonemal stage is a thread-like stage which will give rise to the development of the which the development starts from the rhizoids. Sporophytes are very simple and they are very short-lived. In some, the foot and seta are absent. So here that is the Hepaticopsida. They are the simpler. This class of Bryophyta, they contain the simplest bryophytes. Plant body is thallus-like. Okay. Next is the Anthoceratopsida. Anthoceratopsida, the gametophyte is again undifferentiated. Rhizoids are unicellular and unbranched. Protonemal stage is again absent. Sporophyte is differentiated into foot and capsule. We have studied in Hepaticopsida. Foot and seta is absent. Directly on the gametophyte, the capsule is produced. Whereas in Anthoceratopsida, foot and capsules they are present, where but seta is absent. So example for this Anthoceratopsida is Anthoceros. The third is the Anthoceros as well as Dendroceros. The third class is the Bryopsida. Bryopsida, it is the among the bryophytes we can find, they are the higher forms. Okay, here the gametophyte is differentiated into root like, stem like and leaf like structures. Okay, and they show the stem, they shows the radial symmetry. The rhizoids, they are multicellular and branched. Protonemal stage is present here. Sporophyte is differentiated into foot, seta and capsule. They have more differentiated structure than liverworts and they often form the dense cushions. Example, Funaria. So here we have studied the, according to Prosker, the bryophytes, they are being classified into three classes: Hepaticopsida and Bryopsida. So Hepaticopsida, they are the simplest bryophytes. Okay, they are the simplest form of the bryophytes. Now here the plant body is thallus-like. Protonema stage is absent. Rhizoids, they are unicellular. Next, in the sporophyte stage, foot and seta is absent, only capsule is present. Anthoceratopsida, they are the next higher level than the Hepatic. Also, the plant body is undifferentiated, that is the gametophyte phase is undifferentiated. It is not divided into root, stem or leaf. Next, you can find the rhizoids, they are unicellular or multicellular. Protonemal stage here also absent. In the sporophyte stage, seta is alone absent. Foot and capsule are present there. Third class is the Bryopsida. Among the bryophytes, this is the highest form. Okay, here the plant body is differentiated into stem like and leaf like structures. The stem, they show the radial symmetry. Radial symmetry means what? They are if we divide the stem into two, they will get the equal halves. So they show the radial symmetry. Next, protonemal stage is present here. Sporophyte phase is differentiated into foot, seta and capsule. So this is the classification given by Prosker. That is, the bryophytes are classified into three classes. The next topic we are going to study is about the economic importance of this bryophytes. This bryophytes, the dead tally of sphagnum, okay, sphagnum is a type of bryophytes, they get accumulated and compressed, hardened to form a peat. Peat is a fossil fuel, as we have heard about the coal. Similarly, peat is obtained uh, by the sedimentation of this sphagnum. They got sedimented under the soil, they became hardened, they got compressed, and this sphagnum they have got converted into peat. In North Europe, Netherlands, peat is used as a fuel on commercial scale. Apart from this, nitrates, brown dye and tanning materials are derived from this peat. So here from this fuel, from the peat, you can also get the nitrates, brown dye and tanning materials. Okay. Next, economic importance of bryophyte is sphagnum and peat. They are used in horticulture as packing materials because of their water holding capacity. The peat and sphagnum, they have higher water absorbing capacity, so they are used to keep the cut ends of the stem wet for a longer period. So they are used in the horticulture. Next, Marchantia polymorpha is used to cure pulmonary tuberculosis. So the species of Marchantia, it is used for treating the pulmonary tuberculosis. Sphagnum, bryum, and polytrichum, they are used as food. So these are the edible species of bryophytes. Now bryophytes play a major role in soil formation through succession and helps in the soil conservation. Now here these bryophytes, as they grow as a mat, so they sometimes grow even on the rocks, and they cover the rock and break this rock into the weathering process. They help in the weathering process of the rock, that is the breaking of these huge rocks and resulting in the soil formation. As a result, what will happen, those rocky regions, they are converted into the soils, okay, and these soil, on these soils the vegetations can be seen. So bryophytes play a major role in soil formation through succession and help in the soil conservation. Since they grow as a mat over the soil, they prevent the soil erosion. So this is what we have studied about the general characteristics of the bryophytes. The thallus, the habit we have studied, the habitat we have studied. Next, the mode of reproduction we have studied. Next, the classification of the bryophytes we studied, and their economic importance. So hope you have understood all the topics, children. Thank you.